no seat.
Oh, I love this. Opie and Anthony, Denis Leary's already off and running.
I am off and running.
Talking about CBGBs.
My mic is not on. Is it on? I can't hear myself.
Yeah, you're on.
Some headphone there.
Headphone here.
Little headphone volume for you, man.
See.
CBGBs.
Hi.
Used to work there.
Hi. No, I mean I worked for bands that.
Oh, you had to like load and unload?
One of my career. Well, I guess actually at that time it was really what I did for a job. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I was a roadie for many. No, I liked it actually.
That's not a fun job.
Look, I was working for a guy for.
If you were doing it for Zeppelin, maybe.
As far as I was concerned,
it was Zeppelin.
It was Zeppelin because it was friends of mine's bands that Adam Roth, my guitar player.
Sure.
In my comedy band, we used to be called. I can't say the name of the band, the A-Hole band, but now we've changed it to the Crown Royals featuring the Rehab Horns. Our backup singers are called the Enablers. The guys change the name of the band; they get tired. But anyways, Adam was in several different bands, and I was working for my friends, so it was fun. But the subject was CBGBs.
It's the legendary punk club. They finally closed down because they couldn't keep it open anymore because they weren't paying their bills. Blah blah blah.
Right,
so.
and let's be honest, it was I don't know how
crap hole.
It was a crap hole. It was a crap hole, as it should have been. It was a famous punk and rock and roll club.
Yeah.
But, now that it's closed and it's a John Varvatos clothing store, I'm really happy because I like John Varvatos' stuff, plug, and I like going in there. But, back in the day, it was a great rock and roll club, but it was $7 at Budweiser in 1978, and he never paid people the amount of money they were supposed to get paid. And like all club owners, that's as it should be.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to, And like when Patti Smith was protesting outside the place with all these people when they were going to close it down, saying, save CBGBs. Now, put in a clothing store.
Why save it?
Yeah, I went to the bathroom in there, when there was no door and no seat on the toilet.
Yeah.
Come on. And where was the money for the seat on the... How much does it cost to buy a toilet seat?
Yeah.
Okay? The Ramones, soda water money. That, of course, they never drank that stuff when they were playing. You could have bought they could have brought a toilet seat from Brooklyn.
And it always looked like a baboon had gone in there and just flung feces around.
Hey, listen, the Baboons were a great band. Yeah. The fact that they didn't know how to go to the bathroom...
They warmed up for it.
Was not their fault.
The Ramones. But the funny part is that all these big rock guys protesting CBGB's closing. One of those guys should just bought the damn thing. They can afford it.
Yeah,
and keep it open.
Why
Debbie Harry was outside, right?
All these people.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Keep it open.
I wasn't there. I was at the other protest across the street saying, "Open a clothing store now."
That is New York. You got the old time New Yorkers trying to keep this city like it was when they first moved here. I guess.
Yeah.
Crap.
Hey, listen. I was here. I wasn't living here until sometime in the 80s. I was splitting my time between Boston and New York, but I was here a lot in the late 70s and obviously a lot in the 80s, and it sucked. Let's be honest. There were crackheads everywhere. There used to be a guy named Angel on my block on 1st and 9th who. He was great. He was the local drug dealer, but also you could tell him like, "Hey, here's an extra $10. Watch my car," and he'd sit on your car and deal drugs. So I mean, there were nice things about it, but it sucked
because you had to tell people to watch your car, though.
Exactly. Remember the no radio signs?
That was no radio,
no radio, no seats, no floor,
no radio, nothing.
Yeah,
no battery.
You had to put a sign on.
But you
had to come out in the morning to go to work with like a car battery under one arm, your stereo under the other, the steering wheel, the friggin' steering wheel then had the, what was that thing? The club on it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other one that went down to the brake pedal.
But don't you think the criminals were on to us when everyone started doing the no radio sign?
No, you know what it was? They were so hyped up on crack.
Yeah.
And crack was so cheap that it really wasn't just that. I remember you started with the no radio signs, and then you had to really get down to like, there's nothing in this car. Because they would steal anything. If it was worth $5, a pack of cigarettes they would steal to sell to guys to get crack.
Yeah, you couldn't leave it on your dash or anything.
No, you
pack of cigarettes up there.
The good old days, though. It was an adventure out there.
Your change from the toll money left in the console.
It's true.
Gone.
It was true.
Just a dopey kid from Long Island. I would go to Times Square and see the pimps, the whores, the drug dealers, get my fake ID.
The good old days.
Now it's
like,
Disneyland down there.
Like Taxi Driver. It was like
it was completely like that.
Steam coming out of every hole in the street and hookers everywhere.
You were a dopey kid from Long Island?
Still am.
Who knew?
Still am. I'm trying to up
Who
my
knew?
game, but still am. I just watched King of Comedy again. I love that movie, and they had a shot at Times Square, and that movie was only, what, mid-'80s?
82, I think.
82.
Is it 82?
Yeah, it's pretty early.
Right after Raging Bull.
Oh, all right, then never mind, because they showed Times Square, and it was still very, very gritty.
It was close to Raging Bull.
Yeah, it was Scorsese. I think it was De Niro's movie right after it, or Scorsese's.
I thought it was later. Okay, whatever. But the book, Dennis, come on.
The book, baby. Why We Suck.
A feel-good guide to staying fat, loud, lazy, and stupid.
Yes, I'm very proud of this book.
Are you over the autism controversy?
Well, I have a couple things I'd like to say about that.
Really?
Yeah. Louis C.K. wrote that chapter.
Louis like, thank you.
Yeah, if there's anything else in the book you don't like, Bill Hicks wrote that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Louis C.K. for a second, okay?
Yeah.
Then we'll get into autism. Apparently somebody has contacted Louis.
Oh, he's told the story on our show.
I know. And so I heard about it. I didn't hear it. Somebody contacted Eddie Brill from the Letterman show, who's an old friend of mine, contacted Louis and said, hey, Chris Phillips wrote the A-Hole song with Dennis. And actually it was Chris's idea. He's the one who came up with the riff, and it tumbled out of our heads. And when he told Louis said, oh my God, I should call Chris Phillips and apologize. No call to me, though. Apparently, the lines that Chris wrote in the A-Hole song are fine, but I stole all the lines I wrote from Louis C.K.
Wow.
So, and Louis, by the way, the money I gave you to make that movie was not guilt money. I had no idea you thought I stole your material. I actually believed in you as a filmmaker. Period. That's the end of that story.
No,
what movie did you give him money to?
I don't even want to get into it. I gave him money to make a movie because I believed him as a filmmaker. Apparently, he said on your show that he thought it was blood guilt money.
Well,
yeah,
I
okay.
think
you know what's funny? We do our show every day, and I swear to God, I vaguely remember Louis saying that there was a problem
I just
with
wanted to go on the record.
The A-Hole song with Denis Leary, and now I got to go listen to what Louis said to bring it all together.
No, you don't have to listen to it. Whatever.
All right.
I just wanted to say it publicly. As far as the autism thing goes, and I hope there's people out there listening up. You know, before the autism thing broke in the New York Post, which was a paragraph taken out of context from the autism chapter.
They never do that.
Yeah. I got a review from Publishers Weekly, which is, a way in advance review. They gave the book a 4-star review, which is a big thing for a comedy book or any book from Publishers Weekly.
Sure.
And they, amongst other things, called it wildly entertaining. These are respectable people. If they thought I was slamming autistic kids, I think they would have cited it. So they didn't. They gave it a great review. Here's the deal. The chapter, the paragraph in particular that people think is about autistic kids and their parents is not about autistic kids and their parents. It's about people who are trying to get low-level diagnoses. This is a real issue in the autism community for their kids who have things like ADD or in general are badly behaved. So inattentive parents are now, believe it or not, trying to get their kids diagnosed and designated as special needs so they have a way to explain away
why
their bad parenting and why their kids misbehave. Now, and in the chapter I talk about just one in particular autistic child that I know that I've known her whole life, and how offensive it is to me that people would think that they could jump on this boom in autism and get their kids included. You know,
well, that is taken out of context.
That's a little different than what we read, man.
And I talk about Asperger's syndrome and people who really have that. And then in particular, I talk about Augustine Burroughs' brother, who, in my opinion, I read his book and I listened to him get interviewed on the radio, had self-diagnosed himself after he made tons of money as a KISS roadie and technical whiz. You know, that's what I'm talking about, okay? And it's part of this whole victim thing. So, like, I talk about SAD, too, a seasonal affective disorder. People will say, oh, when the leaves fall off the trees, I get really depressed and I eat a lot and I sleep a lot and I drink too much and yeah, it's called winter, okay? We all have that problem. That's why we invented skiing and ice hockey. So anyways.
What a coincidence, it's sad.
Once this thing took off, it was impossible to get people, and it may still be impossible for me to get people to realize what I was really talking about. But just to put it in perspective, like I said, I think if you read the book, and I've actually heard from people now who have read the chapter because we put it out through Autism Speaks, through their organization online so people could read it, who have complete strangers from the autism community who have contacted me to say, I know exactly what you're talking about. This is a problem. This is an issue. This is one of those things that just goes on because, the real problem is they don't have federal funding or health insurance coverage. These people have to actually sue back against their own school districts to try to get the money that they spend because kids who are really autistic need to have hands-on teaching. They need to have a 1-to-1 ratio or a 3-to-1 ratio. So that's what the real issue is, and that's why I found it so offensive that there were people that were saying, you know what, I want to get my kids included in this because that way I can explain why my kids are misbehaving, et cetera, et cetera.
It's not my fault.
Did Jenny McCarthy badmouth? I know she's involved in it.
You can't. Everybody badmouthed me.
man.
Okay, and just in terms of human math, You guys know I do this Cam Neely benefit every year. We just did.
Yeah.
I said this on stage Saturday night because we just did our 14th
Thomas
one.
come home.
I said, because my local newspaper, the Boston Herald, had slammed me as well. I said, why would I on a Saturday night in Boston for the 14th time raise money to help kids with cancer, and then on Tuesday publish a book that attacks autistic kids? It doesn't make any sense. So from the beginning, I said, read the book, and then tell me. Now, it's still possible that I may not have worded it correctly enough for everybody to get it, but there's no way I'm talking about autistic kids who are truly autistic and their parents dealing with that issue.
But even if, here's the thing, the problem with everybody. You're a comedian, and even if you are making fun of that stuff, it's allowed.
Well, that was my other argument.
It's allowed.
It's a comedy book. I'm a comedy doctor. I'm discussing autism, not defining it. But, by the way, as a comedian, where's the point of view in making fun of autistic kids? There is none. Your point of view is in the ridiculous part of it, which is these parents whose kids are misbehaving and whose kids are self-indulged, and these parents going and trying to get these kids included in a low-level part of that spectrum. That's offensive and therefore needs to be. I mean, to me, that's the comedy target. You know what I mean?
But it's like nobody says to Stephen King, "Why did you write a book where the clown murders children?" Nobody says that because they understand there's an entertainment value in a clown murdering children. For 1,100
Did he write
pages.
a book about a clown murdering?
Oh yeah,
that
man.
son of a bitch.
Yes.
Who does he think he
likes
is?
killing kids.
But you understand they don't question that. But comedians, for some reason, we always have to explain away, and all of us have to do it. Why we decided to poke fun and stuff. Everybody should just drop dead. When you know it's said in humor, all bets are off, whether you like it or not.
By the way, I think I have no answer for why the newspaper misquoted it.
Because they suck.
But here's my belief. I think because when you look at the chapter titles in Why We Suck, hey, look, I knew what I was doing. There's a lot of funny chapter titles.
They're great.
And there's a lot. Listen, you could take the chapter, Please Drug Your Children. That's one of the titles in one of the chapters. You could take that one and say that I'm trying to drug everybody's kids.
Yeah.
You could take, We'd Hate You Even If You Weren't Black, and say I'm a racist. I'm not, and I discuss racism in the chapter. But if you're just going through the book and picking things out, it's easy to take things.
How about Famous Dead Kids or Their Kids Are Not Cute?
By the way,
I love the chapter names.
Famous Dead Kids is one of my favorites because that discusses all these. It's talking to parents about please don't put your kids in show business, until they're adults,
right?
Because I just list all the dead kids, the famous dead kids just in our lifetime.
Yeah.
Really, there's two who have survived as professionals, Ron Howard and Jodie Foster. And then there's a number of kids from Bonaducci through Todd Bridges. I actually go through Todd Bridges' whole life, where his career started and all the legal lawsuits thing between his parents and his criminal record and everything. I mean, it's when you put all that stuff on paper, all these kids.
It's a lot.
It's unbelievable.
Dana Plateau.
All of them. I mean, it's, Gary Coleman. But there's a lot of them that died. They either killed themselves or, ended up accidentally killing themselves.
I'm sorry, but you got flack too for the title. Of Matt Dillon's a big fag. You're friends with Matt, aren't you?
Yeah, and here's the idea behind that. Another one. That's another one the Post quoted. That chapter's about how guys talk
Post
to each
again.
other.
What a surprise.
How we nickname each other.
Yeah.
And how women don't. You know how women never have nicknames for each other? As a matter of fact, they call each other by their full name if Meg's her nickname, they call her Meg. But they never call, they don't do last names. Hey, Leary. Hey, Nor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we call it, I can say that because you guys
in that context.
we call each other fags all the time, right? Hey, you big fag, whatever. And it's all about, that's, how guys refer to each other.
Yeah.
And if a guy's missing a left eye, you call him either righty or lefty. So anything that goes wrong with a guy, if a guy has, cancer of the testicles and loses one,
one ball.
Yeah,
you
one
call
ball.
him Lance Armstrong.
That's the way we work, right? That's how we work.
Of course we
That's
do.
what that chapter's about.
We're not allowed to do that in society
And the
anymore.
Post, by the way, even went out of their way to say that not only that was that controversial, but that the homosexual community was up in arms about it, and that the interview with the Advocate that I did was a negative interview, when in fact they loved the book.
Oh, good.
I mean, it's unbelievable the stuff that they,
God, just either out of context or just straight out lying. Unbelievable. The whole thing with calling your buddy a fag or faggot, that got way out of hand because you never meant it sexually.
No.
It was always
As a matter of fact,
it's like you want to go out. What are you doing? You're going to stay in tonight? Don't be a faggot. Get in the car and let's go.
my older brother, Kiwi.
Kiwi? Why Kiwi? Small
I'll
one?
tell you that story in a little bit. But my brother Kiwi, there's a lot of stuff in the book about Kiwi and growing up.
Yeah.
And we always had to share a room. We started in the attic when my parents had an apartment on the third story of a 3-decker. My brother and I lived in the attic like bats. And then when they moved, we lived in the basement of my mom's house. So my brother and I were always in this tiny space and just beating the crap out of each other. But we literally, for about 15 years, we never said each other's names. We just called each other faggot and fag. Hey, fag, let's go. It's time to go to school. Faggot, get up. Hey, faggot, where's my record? Where's my shirt, faggot? You know, that's what we called each other.
Yeah.
So that's in the book a million times.
That's awesome.
You know, my brother would call me faggot at the dinner table, and my parents wouldn't bat an eye.
It's
Of
because
course not.
what
That's
you
just how it
did.
was.
The big
all
fag
my
took my
friends.
thing. Hey, the little fag took my thing. You know, that's how we refer to each other.
All of my
So-
friends were a bunch of fags.
Oh, yeah.
Like, hey, what are you doing? you
My
faggot?
brother had a football team, a pickup football team called the Fags. Shirts that said the Fags on it. You know, come on.
Hey, we got a
And
side.
by the way, some of my best friends are Fags.
Yeah, there you go.
I've known Mario Cantone since
Oh,
forever.
1975.
And both of my coworkers are.
easy.
Hey, you can't prove that.
Assad in Boston has.
Here's a
Hey, by the way, Jim, did you have a second book come out?
Yeah, he
I'm,
did.
I'm such an idiot. I'm going to admit to this. Yeah, I've never had a book out before. So I just thought I was going to, last night I was sitting home, I go, hey, this is kind of a big moment for me. I order all my stuff off Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
I ordered my own book.
Nice.
Just so it's like voting. I wanted to vote for myself. Anyways, this is so funny. When I punched in, the one click, cling, clang, Denis Leary, you've ordered Denis Leary.
You might like.
They said, you might like, the first one up is your second book.
cool.
And I went, Jesus, Jim has a book. Wow, they think that as soon as I order this thing, it goes right to Jim Norton.
That's great for Jimmy.
Hopefully that's
you
good
just
for
made
me.
Jimmy's day.
Thanks. Yeah. Bye,
When did that
Dennis.
come out?
2 weeks ago.
Oh, so it's you, me, and Artie Lang fighting it out in the bookstores.
Yeah, I mean,
You sons of bitches, how dare you?
I'm happy though.
You guys couldn't spread these out a little bit?
No, they a week apart's good though. Look,
All
I
right.
hit the list. You'll certainly hit it. Artie will hit it. Look,
Get what list?
bestseller list.
How many books do you have to sell to be on the bestseller
I
list?
don't know because I know the
you'll be there,
competition is
Dennis.
disgusting.
Wait, you were on the bestseller list with the first book.
Yeah, that's just what I do. I mean, like, wow, I'm on the best. It's my thing.
Wait. So you don't know how many books you have?
I never asked. I probably should ask. I
doesn't
don't know
wanna
how it
know.
works. I don't know.
So this one that you have out now is going to win the bestseller list.
It's for the November 23rd paper. It's on the Times bestseller list, which ended this week.
Okay, now, see, I'm going to get screwed here.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
It goes
You're on the
Tuesday-
bestseller list. Artie's going to get on. And then, I'm going to be the man
be
left
there.
out.
It doesn't work that way
You'll
though,
be up
because
there.
this week I don't know if I'll stay on the list.
Right.
Like last year, I was on for 5 weeks, but I was on for 4, and then I came off the list, and then I came back on. It happens like that. You'll definitely get on it. You're Denis Leary. I mean, everybody knows who you are.
See, that's the problem.
You got a lot of press around. I knew your book was coming out. I thought your book was already out. You were getting so much people talking
that's
about
what's going to
the
happen.
book.
Everybody's going
Jimmy.
to go, the book's not available anymore. It's been out for too
Could
long.
you give sympathy to the guy with the hit TV show?
That's what I'm saying. You're doing a signing. They took out a big. You're smart. He's doing a signing tonight, and the signings are good. You should do them because they really do help.
That's
with
what they
sales.
told me. Actually, you know what they told me, Jimmy? You're going to love to hear this. Is they said Jim Norton did this. He did this book signing, then he went and did this book signing, and he went to Chicago.
Yep.
That's why I'm going to Chicago, because of you.
I did all that last year. I did. It helped a lot too, man, because you're going to do an independent store too. Probably. I don't know if you're doing one in Jersey. If you're doing, I
don't know.
They should be doing independent stores, but they're fun to do, and people do word of mouth, man. It helps with book sales
Certainly
a lot.
does. Yeah.
And
I got to
tonight,
tell you, that intro to your first book is one of the classic comedy book things of all time. The Colin Quinn thing.
oh yeah, it's great, right?
And he didn't read the book, and then he did read the book.
Yeah.
That was really funny.
That was very,
people
very
still. I
clever.
still hear people talking about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, Colin was just great. And, 2 pages. It was the perfect
Really
introduction.
funny.
Dennis,
Really funny.
you hanging for a while?
Yeah, why do I have to leave?
No, we don't want you to.
What
We're
do I
making
do?
sure you. Well, we got to take a break.
Let me
that's all.
plug Dennis's signing real quick. Tonight,
Yeah.
6:30. You're smart tonight because you're doing it 6:30. It's a good time at Borders and Penn Station. It's like you hop on the train, you just go there. It's a perfect time to get your book and you get it signed. It's a great place for a signing. I did mine there, but I did it later like an idiot.
And I'm happy to see because I did follow the controversy in the
Did you
press.
guys read this book, by the way?
We just got it yesterday.
They
Just
delivered
got
them
the damn
yesterday
thing.
How about you
afternoon.
give us
Yeah,
an
but I
advance
mean-
copy. I would have
Yeah.
read the whole thing.
How about Lydia
You
Will
could've-
sends me one?
You could have read it last night.
Well, no, we got it. I
Today.
shouldn't even say yesterday. We were handed these about 10 minutes before you got.
And I said to Steve, when did these get here? And he goes, they were delivered yesterday afternoon.
Really?
Yeah. But I do want to say, because the controversy, it was following in the press. So
I like the pictures.
So I get the book today,
yes,
and I open it up, and I'm proud to say the autism chapter is still in here, because I'm like, watch what happens. They're going to yank it out.
No. I never.
And I'm so happy.
I never thought it. No,
Good.
because listen, you know what? I apologized.
Good.
I mean, I did it privately as well, but I apologized in public with a statement that I didn't never apologize for what I wrote. I apologized for the fact that it was, perceived a certain way, and for the effect that had on these families. So, like I said, I mentioned this one family and this one child.
You know how things go. All of a sudden, they would rip the chapter out. It's like, good.
Well, no,
it's not.
I didn't.
It's in there.
I wanted to
happy.
do what it was.
Good.
My intentions were clear.
All right, more with Denis Leary. Why We Suck is the new book. A feel-good guide to staying fat, loud, lazy, and stupid. Opie and Anthony, stay there. Opie and Anthony, we got Denis Leary in studio. We could talk to you all day, Dennis.
Really?
We love when you come in. Why We Suck, a feel-good guide to staying fat, loud, lazy, and stupid is the name of the new book. It's going to do very, very well.
And it got crap already from these morons who took it out of context and stuff. But
boy, what a surprise!
That's great, though. I mean, that's what you kind of want when a book comes out. You want people talking about it. It's not like
I didn't want people talking about it under that. When I wrote it, obviously, and when it was getting ready to be sent out to people, I wanted people. I mean, look I've never been accused of being a middle-of-the-road comic. I know I'm provocative and I'm shocking and I'm a lot of things, but stupid. I've been incredibly stupid in my personal life, and my mom and my wife and my kids can tell you lots of stories about it, and even Lenny about how stupid I've been. But as a comic, I've never been stupid, So I wanted to provoke, and I wanted to, like I said before, there's no comedy point of view in making fun of kids who have autism. I wouldn't write a chapter about making fun of kids with autism because, to me, where is the funny part there? There is a funny part to be found when people are trying to jump on, the boom in autism and get their kids included on the outside part of the spectrum. You know what I mean? So that's what I was talking about. And there are going to be people that will never ever understand the point of view of this chapter because they will have only reacted and seen what they first saw. And
sure.
I can't do anything about those people, but I just want to make it clear to people what my intentions were and what I was really writing about. And like I said, to me, one of the best examples is Publishers Weekly of somebody that published a review of the book, about a week before this New York Post thing happened. They never even mentioned autism because obviously in the context of the book, they knew how everything fit together.
And the great thing, though, is that it's written down. So it's like whenever they take a verbal quote out, it's kind of hard to get people to go get the audio. But it's like, hey, dummy, here it is. It's written down. Just read it.
Right.
It's like they can't get around the fact that they didn't read it if they didn't read it because it's not going to change.
Well, there's not much you can do about it. And by the way, there's plenty of other people in the book to be offended by what I wrote, and hopefully there will be. Because I mean, to me, the chapter on racism, man. I start out by talking about the stereotypes and the whole politically correct thing, which tries to erase the facts that we all know about each other.
Right.
Ethnic background, racial background, whatever. All these stereotypes that we've had for years that apparently now no longer exist.
Yeah,
right?
they all went
and we
away.
wipe them like Irish people don't drink and beat each other up, right? Listen, I'm Irish. I have some experience with that. So I spent the whole chapter talking about that because I started. The reason I wrote that chapter was because I had it in the back of my head, and I was sick and tired of hearing about it. And then Naomi Campbell, when she got arrested on that plane, tried to claim that it was racism.
Yeah.
That actually they were racist, and that's why they lost her bags and everything else. And that's where I started, taking Naomi's case on and then just running down the line as to, what makes us different is part of what makes us, what makes this country so great. It's also what makes us funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Years ago in the Post, actually, I wrote a piece. I just remembered this now. It's in the chapter. They asked me to write a piece about St. Patrick's Day, right? I didn't have a book coming out. This is probably 12, 13 years ago. I wrote a thing about the St. Patrick's Day parade. I have it framed somewhere in my office. It was a 2-page spread, and it was basically about a bunch of Irish guys who go to the parade and get drunk and beat each other up and end up getting arrested with their Puerto Rican friend whose face is painted green, right? And the Irish Anti-Defamation League threatened to sue me because of the New York Post thing. Right. And my response was, I sent them a letter and I said, listen, if you want to take me to court, that's fine. But I'll just get the news channels from the last 20 years since the invention of the news to get me footage of Irish guys. I've been there.
Yeah.
Beating the crap out of each other with their faces painted green. I'll even get some Puerto Rican guys that'll join in. And they backed off because they knew there was footage. There's footage probably. Yeah, get ready for the footage from this year. I mean, it's just that there's things that are true, and there's things that people wish wasn't true, but it's
that's just the way it is.
Naomi Campbell. Nobody hates you because you're black. Okay, people might hate you because you're beautiful or because you're a bitch, but they don't hate you because you're black. You can't hit people with phones, and and expect to get away with it. It has nothing to do with being black. Okay.
She's like a Sesame Street character. She walks down the street, there's just a giant C over her head at all times. She's the worst. Overprivileged snot. Dennis, if they give you a flag, I don't know if you want to get this harsh, but you should say, go jump in the lake.
Jimmy, calm down now.
That's crazy.
Don't get me started.
Wow, you're out of your mind.
You got a whole chapter on the Olympics. You call it the A-hole Olympics.
Yes.
You weren't a fan?
Well, it's not just these Olympics. It's
just in general?
It's actually, it's taking the Olympic premise and saying, why can't we have an Olympics for all, not just the athletes, but, all the a-holes.
Right.
Rush Limbaugh, I think there's something that we can broadcast it. It can be pay-per-view. We can make money off it, give it to charity. You know what I mean? There's plenty of a-holes out there, especially in this country. Right. So,
Yeah.
There's tons of them. And also, a lot of the book is about my mom. When you guys get a chance to read it, because my mother is sort of the through line. Talking about raising children and how we all were raised with the sense of right and wrong. And I don't know about you guys, but in where I was brought up, if you wanted self-esteem, you had to actually earn it. Like if you wanted a trophy, you had to win it.
Yeah.
Not everybody got a trophy.
Thank you. We talk about that all the time.
You didn't hit the baseball off the tee. You actually learned how to hit a baseball that was thrown by another guy.
Thank
you. So that if it hit you in the face and crushed your face, you knew to not crowd the plate. Those were the days, right?
Thank you.
And we kept score because we learned that losing sucks. You know what I mean? So with self-esteem, now you have a generation of kids. I mean, I work with a couple of these guys where they don't understand why everything they do
how do we get this?
Doesn't get a round of applause. Because what you did just sucked.
I ruled when I was a kid. What happened? No, you didn't.
But we understand that. We talk about that a lot on our show. How did it get through, though? How did we accept this?
I didn't accept it.
Every kid is a winner. My little nephew plays football. They got like a rule: if one team's up by too much, they take the offense out and have to put the scrubs in to play offense. It's like, that's insane.
What are you playing for?
Exactly. In the end, what are you playing for?
Yeah, seriously.
And if the score gets too crazy, then you don't even play offense until the other team gets the score down. So now you're playing defense the whole time.
So what do you teach? Actually, you know what you're doing? You're teaching
the kids to let them score because you really want to play offense.
Everything's great. Anything you do is great. Well, not everything you do is great. Okay.
Not when you get in the real world. That's when these kids are going to be really surprised.
But I think that's one of the big problems right now, which is what I talk about in the book. And my mom, what I did is I called my mom up, and I didn't want a tape recorder, so I told her, "Mom, I'm calling you. I'm writing this book." And first she was like panicked. She was like, "What, are they fired from the TV show? What happened to the movies and the TV show?" I was like, "No, they're paying me money."
It's nice to know everyone's
unbelievable.
Those calls. I get those too. Right. Everything's okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. The checks will keep coming.
You're doing that St. Patrick's thing again, are you? All moms are the same, right? It's funny. We just did this tribute to George Carlin because he got the Mark Twain Award in Washington, and there was a clip that Jon Stewart interviewed him years ago, and they ran this clip, and he talked about the same thing. He said when he first did Class Clown and he took on the Catholic Church and the 7 Dirty Words, his mother was really pissed off, right? And, there's nobody more against organized religion than George Carlin.
Yeah.
But apparently, he's from Morningside Heights, Apparently his mother was walking around one day and there were a couple of younger nuns from the parish, and she got into a conversation, and they asked how George was doing, and she apologized to the nuns, for George. And they said, actually, some of the stuff we've seen, your son do on TV, he's kind of making this point. He's saying this and this and this about those words. And, yes, they're dirty words, but he has a point. And then she was like, oh, and she called George and said, the nun said it's okay what you're doing, son. I mean, it's hysterical.
Now she was okay with it, right?
You still have the mom giving you either crap.
Well, my mother, I actually ended up, I make fun of Dr. Phil. I make fun of a lot of different things in this book. But for child rearing, I would call my mom. I'd say, Mom, what about this? I don't remember this, and she's throughout the book. And at the end, I turned in the book, and the A-Hole Olympics was the last chapter, and the publisher said, you can't end the book this way. You got to call your mom again and wrap it up. And I'm not kidding you. After I made fun of Dr. Phil and raising kids and everything else, I called my mom up, and it's in the book. I transcribed it as I was talking to her, and when I got off the phone, I'd make sure I remembered everything that she said. Dr. Phil was blasting in the background. It's the last chapter in the book. I couldn't even hear. I said, what are you watching? She's like, oh, Dr. Phil. And she goes on this whole rant about Dr. Phil. It's in the book. So it was almost like Kismet. You know what I mean?
Nice.
It's like, worked out nice.
So why was she watching Dr. Phil? Just so she could hate him?
My mom.
Because I watch stuff just so I could hate it.
Yeah, see, my mom, because my mom's 81, and literally she walks 5 miles a day. She's going to live to be 126. She never smoked. She never drank, right? She's a lunatic. She's about, 5'2". And my mother, you'll see in the book.
How did that happen?
She's just one of the funniest, women you'll ever meet. But she's from Ireland. She's from the countryside. There's no bull about my mom. She just, like, if you walk, when she describes the grandchildren, if you walked in and there was 6 grandchildren, she literally go, that's the smart one, that's the dumb one. We don't know if he's retarded or not. He can run fast and he writes pretty good. Like, she just is a cut to the chase type person.
Yeah, good.
So, what was my point? Where was I going with this?
I don't know. That was funny.
I asked if she watches Dr. Phil.
Oh, yeah. So she raised all these kids, my kids and my nieces and my nephews. And my son Jack is about 18 years old now, and a bunch of the cousins are in that same general age group. So then when they were growing up, they watched Cribs, Pimp My Ride, the Ozzy Osbourne Show. This is what they watched MTV all the time, and my mom would watch it with them. So my mom literally, her favorite show at one point was the Osbournes. Her second favorite show was Pimp My Ride. Nice. So my little Irish mother would go, I think that Ozzy Osbourne's a good father. And I'd go like, Ma, you're kidding me, right? She's like, no, they make fun of him too much. And then she'd talk about Pimp My Ride. Did you see the one where they took the thing? Did you see that house that Puff Daddy lives in? This is my mother. Unbelievable.
As long as she's not saying Snoop Dogg, I can see how a girl could fall for him.
I never asked her about Snoop Dogg. She might be a fan. Who knows? So,
I was asking you off mic, rescue me. You're killing us. It's been way too long. When are the new episodes hitting?
We're still shooting. We're halfway through.
Season 5, right?
It's season 5 and season 6 combined, so it's one big. It's
nice.
22 or 24 episodes.
And you're gonna run them like just
one after the other.
So no break in between.
No, it comes on in April, runs all the way through into the fall.
Oh, how great is that?
And I can't. I'm biased. I'm obviously involved in the process, but we really feel this is like the best season we've ever done. The actors are all popping. I was telling you guys off during the commercial about Mike J. Fox. Michael Fox is playing a character in the first 5 episodes this year. It's a role. It's a dramatic role that has comic elements to it, and it's a grand slam, man. He's never done anything like this. He was so unbelievable as this character, and not just the stuff that we wrote. He brought a lot of stuff to it. He was improvising things. It was exciting as hell. It really was.
You said you're going to piss off America with this.
Who knows?
Because he's like America's sweetheart, and now he's what, like a pill popping?
Yeah, and by the way, he's got another book coming out.
Yeah,
yeah, he's got a book about hope coming out.
And you also said that
he was writing it, by the way. And he was writing it supposedly at the same time I was writing my book, and I kept on, I call him because he'd already written a book, and I go, Mike, I don't know how to do this, and I'm getting, you get frustrated. I don't know if you had this thing, Jimmy. I never wrote a book, and I was like, geez, Mike, what do I do? And he's like, you got to jump in, pal, and you're either going to love it or hate it, but jump in and make yourself do it every day, and duh. So I was like, I called him twice. The second time he gave me the big speech, and I was like. And I jumped in, and during the writer's strike, for 3 months, I wrote every single day. I loved it. He's supposed to be writing his book on hope and optimism. And I called him at the end, and I was like, I'm done with my book, man. I'm going to send it to you, and you send me yours. He's like, I haven't finished my book yet. And he actually told the story on set. He said, one day I walked into the house and said to my wife, this book on optimism is killing me. And she was like, you go downstairs and write. So
it's hard to be sometimes
stories.
Sometimes it's hard to be like you want to write. It's hard when you're trying to be funny because as comics, you know what I mean? It's like sometimes you don't feel funny, so you're like, I got to write something funny, and it's like, nothing comes out, and then it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden, oh my God, that's a chapter idea, and you just all of a sudden you start writing. It's a weird way for me the process works. I mean, for everybody it's different, but I had to write every day too, or I would just kind of lose interest in it.
Well, see, for me it's easy. I think I don't know how you work, but as a comedian, like when I went up Saturday. I've got 4 notes or 5 notes on paper, but because they're only kickoff points, that's like 40 minutes of material for me because I talk it out on stage. But, like you said, sitting down, I can write an episode of Rescue Me or a movie script, and I know how to structure it, and I know how much time it's going to take, and it doesn't bum me out or depress me, and I might hit writer's block, but I never get into a panicky thing. But a book, man. I was like,
that's odd that you
it's just
write an episode.
I think I know, but it's because you're trying to write in your comedian voice. And you're used to just sort of saying it out loud.
Yeah,
it's a weird process.
It's fun, though, because I like editing stuff that I've written because you can go over it and go, no. It's like we're stand-up where, like, once you said it, it's said. You work it out again, but in front of people. But with a book, it's so much fun because you keep looking at it, going back, and, like, the wording is perfect and it's not right. It's a fun project to construct and deconstruct and put back together.
Yeah,
I've been more boring
weird.
saying that, but he doesn't say it.
No.
That was Jim Norton, New York Times best-selling author.
Yeah, two authors just, talking about the process.
This is called the fireside chat.
Sure.
You know what,
couple
Jim?
of gentlemen.
No matter what else happens, you got on the New York Times bestseller list.
Cool as that.
Listen, they have to say for the rest of his life, New York Times best-selling author Jim Norton.
How great is that?
And I actually make a girl say that while I'm banging her.
Well, you should. That's like winning an Oscar or something, man. Oscar, when they put, like, there's a really crappy movie, but Oscar nominee Nicolas Cage, and, right? Oscar, it's always going to be attached to you.
That's true.
You know?
New York Times bestseller, arrested with transgendered friend.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be the lead, right? Even when you die, New York Times bestselling author dead, with tranny.
Yes.
Whatever.
Self-inflicted gunshot wound with a pile of his unsold books at his body.
His third non-bestselling book, whatever. But they have to say that about you.
You guys were also talking about the sex thing that you're dealing with, Jimmy, and Dennis is like, holy crap.
Well, we were just talking about the process of writing and, like, how for me it was weird because I was, in the porn and stuff. I was so distracting, right? I would literally have porn open and write. And then it was very. I need distractions. I can't just sit down in silence and write.
Okay, listen. Yeah, I've got ADD. I talk about this in the book too, because when I'm talking about
you got ADD, no,
ADD, HD, high def. I've got that. And
as long as there's no I in there.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't that one. Like I had the radio on when I was working, and sometimes music, and I had all kinds of reference books, and I was Googling all the time and stuff, but. That's like, man, I don't even know how you do that.
I would actually, when I finally got down to editing and rewording, I was actually bringing my laptop in here, and then on break I would do it. I need distractions because then there's no pressure. Like when I have a million distractions around me, it can't be like me and you having a conversation. It's just got to be background, that type of noise. But porn was a little too much.
Why don't you hire a guy to stand in the corner and go,
much better than porn playing. That's got to be a distraction.
Honest to God, would stop and I would watch porn. And
now, have you gone to like a sex rehab David Duchovny thing?
No rehab, no. I mean, guys, I think typically do that to save something like a relationship or a marriage. Like, I think normally that's like that's like a rifle at the head move,
or save sperm. They might want to.
Yeah.
Don't you run out of sperm at a certain point?
You'd be surprised. Really, one would think.
Hey, you bring up Duchovny. We feel like we might have pushed him over the edge.
Why?
He was in here. He's a friend of the show. He's been on a few times, and Ant was describing the pal talk thing to him, and it was filled with naked girls that day. And next thing you know,
right,
we're not sure if we might have been the last straw for David.
Yeah,
it's like
showing him some girls
in the middle of the interview. He's like
showing him girls. What do you mean?
Well, yeah, some of the girls on Pal Talk here.
What's Pal Talk?
It's this live video feed conferencing thing, so they could see us, you could see them, and a lot of times they take their clothes off and.
That's great, guys. Did you know in advance that he had a...
No.
No, okay. Well,
so
he can't be faulted.
No, and he hasn't been on our show since, so we're wondering...
Well, that's because he's been in sex rehab.
Yeah, we're wondering if maybe we pushed him over the edge. We don't know for sure, but... The timing was pretty...
well, maybe that's what they should do as a public service, is when they find out that they're celebrities, or even just regular people, but mostly celebrities.
Yeah.
Because it's more fun, let's be honest. If you find out that somebody's having that kind of a problem, you bring them in and you do this pal talk thing.
Yeah.
And if they go over the edge, you go right to rehab. But you guys could get a deal advertising the rehab.
And we'll see if it puts them over the edge. And then it's kind of like a litmus test.
And then you've done a public service.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
You've saved their marriages and their sperm.
So, Dennis, what do you think?
He was... and he's in that series where apparently he's just having sex with different girls every week and stuff. Maybe that wasn't the best thing for him.
Who knows?
Who knows is right.
I don't know.
What do you think of Obama?
Well, I voted for Obama, and I like the guy. I'm hoping there's a lot of issues that this guy talked about on his way up that I hope he stays true on. A couple of I'm an issue-oriented guy as I get older. Firefighters, federal funding for first responders, specifically guys in New York. I just think it's ridiculous at this point that we don't have a huge federal grant for New York City firefighters, because on 9/11, the first guys that responded were the New York City Fire Department and the New York City Police.
Apparently, you shut down firehouses and get rid of the.
So I just want
more guys.
He said he would do. John Kerry actually ran with that as part of his platform. So, anyways, Obama said he would do that. He's talking about stem cell research, which I think is really important, and I believe in, and really some federal funding for that. He's also mentioned that he federally wants to fund autism. These are 3 points that I'd like to see him, back up on. But let's also be honest. I like the guy. I think the guy's dynamic and everything else. But could we give him a bigger crap pile? I mean, literally, it's like, okay, welcome, bro. Happy to have a first time black president. Yeah. There's no money. We got 2 wars, and the auto industry is completely done.
Not a big issue.
Not a big issue, and gas is it's actually lowering.
Yeah.
So it's just like just pile it on.
Yeah.
So,
fix this.
Yeah. Fix this, bro.
And if he doesn't, there's not going to be another black president for a really long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's really. I mean, they're making it the biggest challenge that he could possibly have. But I love the guy. I love his. I love the way he speaks. Mm-hmm. I'm a little tired, and I'm gonna. I've talked about this on Saturday. Lorenz Tate works on my show. I got a lot of brothers working on my crew. It was a very exciting night at work because we were working during the election. The next morning, everybody was hyped. Lorenz Tate has not stopped talking about that. I mean, every time you say something, he's like, yo, man, we got the White House. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Now this is going to happen. And, I want to just tell the brothers out there, okay, he got elected, not you, okay? All right? I know that he said, yes, we can. No, yes, he can, all right? He's moving into the White House, not you.
Yep.
So settle down. We're all in this boat together, and he's the president of all of us.
Yeah. Earl's like that over on Ron and Fez's show. He will not stop talking about Obama being elected and how this is great for us. And by us, he doesn't mean
whitey.
No,
white people.
Well, I think a lot of brothers think that they're going to start picking up white guys on the street because our pants are pulled up too high and our baseball hats aren't cocked sideways. But that's not going to happen. You know what I mean? This guy is the president of all of us. Thank God, by the way. It's great to have an actual intelligent, funny president again. Did you guys see the 60 Minutes thing?
It was pretty good.
I love the way he talks. I love how he thinks. I love the fact that he spent 5 minutes complaining about the BCS thing. The Bowl Championship Series. It was great. He actually
he's obsessed with college football having a playoff.
I agree.
All sports fans have been yelling about this for years.
I can't stand it.
And here he is on 60 Minutes talking about, no, we need a playoff. It's like, wow,
we have a president,
that's one of your issues.
We finally have a president who's smart, who's funny, who cares about sports.
Yep.
He's actually, I can't play basketball. I'm a hockey player. But he looks like a great athlete in the footage that I've seen. And
he can shoot the rock.
Yeah, so it's great to have.
But they won't let him have his BlackBerry or something? He's not happy about that.
And his mother-in-law apparently is moving into the White House. Did you hear that?
What?
Well, I guess he has no control over that. You got to love it. You got to love it.
That's good for us, though. That means he's going to spend even more time in the office trying to get stuff done to avoid that situation.
Oof.
So, Ant did not vote for Obama because, I mean, everyone has their issues, and Ant's a gun guy.
I'm a Second Amendment guy, and I don't like his position over his entire career about guns.
Yeah, it's too bad because now you have to turn those guns in and your tax money.
Okay? A lot of my tax. That was another big issue.
Give us your tax money and
my guns.
As a matter of fact, because I voted for Obama, you can actually give me your guns now and whatever money you have on you, and I'll report back to Obama.
Yeah.
And tell them, but all you Republicans, you got to give it up.
Just take the guns, turn them around, point them at me, and say, "Give me your money."
I'll gladly do that if you want.
Now, Dennis, pretty much where I feel I'm at.
Dennis, that's a big issue. The tax thing. You do very well, obviously. Does that bother you?
No, it doesn't bother me in the least. Look, you know what?
Why though?
I'll tell you why.
Because Dennis makes a little bit more than $250,000.
It's actually in my book. My parents came from Ireland. They came to this country. Very shortly thereafter, an Irish guy became president. My parents had been here for about 8 years when Jack Kennedy was elected president. So my old man and my mother raised us. My father used to have a great saying, I think it's in the book, that he never judged anybody by the color of their skin because there was plenty of a-holes even in our own family. You know what I mean? He got a lot of Irish need not apply when he first came to this country. And so he always took people on their face value, how they treated him. And he was a lifelong Democrat, and he believed in helping the next guy get a leg up. So to me, I've never even thought about, I'm making more money and I got to pay more in taxes. That's the way I look at it. Like, I'm supposed to be I don't know, I guess a roadie or a truck driver. I mean, I'm not really supposed to be in the position I'm in, and I got lucky, and in this country I got to a certain point. I make a lot of money. I'm really pleased with this country, so I don't mind giving money back. And by the way, I don't understand. We just had 8 years of a guy that basically said, I'm going to run it this way, and less government. There couldn't have been less government in terms of Katrina, by the way. The guy flew over in Air Force One and waved at people. So I'm all for, let's go. Now, because of what happened, we've got to go in. Everybody's got to chip in, because otherwise we're all screwed.
But apparently we
need the Mexicans now, okay? I wish you guys would all stop complaining. We need the Mexicans to come in droves. We need Canadians,
If someone wants to come in and pick some lettuce, I got no qualms.
And
it's fine by me.
I think you got to explain yourself, because you said that I feel exactly the same. Because people have heard you on the show.
Because the thing is, I do pay a lot of tax.
So
I don't like the idea of being told I got to pay more. That's what I don't like. I already when
who
do
you expect to pay the more taxes?
You know what though?
The Mexicans that just came over the border. I mean, you know what? The richer you get, the more taxes you should pay.
Make some cuts on this goddamn government that spends too much, and you'll find a lot of money.
Wait a minute. How are you going to do that?
I pay so much in taxes.
So do I. I pay a ton.
I don't want to pay more.
Well, we're going to have to pay more because we're starting from ground zero, basically, financially.
How about the multitudes in this country that don't pay taxes?
Well, listen, as far as I'm concerned,
How come it's got to rest on my goddamn back? Every time it's got to rest on my back.
I remember the speech where Obama actually mentioned you by name. What are you talking about? I mean,
it does. It rests on my back.
The rich guys should be taking care of the poor guys.
No,
that's the way it's going to work.
Well,
I totally disagree with you. How are we going to fix it? We got to give $25 billion to fix the American auto industry so they can make more crappy cars. Listen, we got to chip in. It's not going to come from the poor people. The Mexicans, they're coming over. They don't have any money yet.
Take all these companies to task that are sending their executives out on these spa weekends. If you're going to bail out a company,
I totally agree.
If you're going to bail out a company, don't let them give bonuses to these bastards.
But those people should pay, and you and I should pay, and you should pay.
I do pay.
And Jim should pay.
I pay enough.
All right. Well.
My quarterly taxes are well enough for one person in this country to contribute. I'm a 50-50 partner with the United States government.
I'm going to get the black guys who work on Rescue Me, and led by Lorenz Tate, to call Obama, because apparently they all know him personally, and say that I want the federal funding for firefighters and autism and stem cell to come directly out of his contract.
My back.
Anthony's,
Mr. Obama, could you please call Anthony and take more money
Anthony, the radio guy.
Yeah.
They had Joe the plumber. And Anthony, nice way to really come across. And
I think his silence means that he agrees with me.
I agree with both of you. Like, helping other people is good, and it is positive. And you know what? It does suck to be broke, but there is a resentment when the government continually sticks their hands in your pockets. It's like there starts to be an anger because I don't respect the way they spend it. Like, again,
right.
Well, I totally agree with you on that.
If I felt I was getting away with something, if I felt like, whoa, am I paying nothing for taxes, I would be like, they finally caught up to me. But I pay too much already for what they're spending.
And they tax every dollar you spend, and they tax everything you make in interest.
Meanwhile, we owe like $20 zillion to China. I agree with that aspect of it. But if you're going to talk about actually... if you're going to talk about whatever, stem cell firemen, autism, whatever the subject might be, I mean, we got to get that money someplace. Meanwhile, by the way, we may not have no auto industry in about 3 years.
I know.
So, it's real bad. We're in a bad situation here.
A lot of jobs going to be lost because of that.
That's crazy.
How about we pull our military out of Korea and stop that stupid demilitarized zone, and whatever Kim Jong-il wants to do, he does. He wants to march in and take the South. Let him. It's none of our business.
By the way,
all that money
while we're on that subject, why doesn't that guy have his own reality show? He is one of the funniest guys.
We know so little about him, but everything's
I know, and apparently he just had his head opened up and his brain examined. I want that on TV. I love this guy. Did you see Team America?
I did not. No.
Of course.
Oh, my God.
Of course.
Yeah, that was great.
One of the funniest movies ever made.
Apparently, they keep photoshopping him now.
I know. I saw the pictures. I love him.
Public places.
You're like, hi, I'm here.
He's fine.
You're not
His
there.
legs don't match up with the shadows.
He's got to get a reality show.
Oh, yeah, he's fantastic.
You got to love that guy's outfit, his hair, the whole 9 yards.
His hair is great on him.
He's fantastic. He's just a short little fellow with dark glasses and a penchant for murder.
I love him.
Pillaging his own nation.
I love them.
We have to take a break, unfortunately. We're going to wrap up in a few minutes. You could stay or go.
I don't know. When am I supposed to go, guys?
Yeah, okay.
I got to go.
All right, Dennis Leary, always a pleasure, man.
Why We Suck, a feel-good guy.
Dr. Dennis Leary on the cover.
You know, that's in my my doctorate is on one of the pages. I copied.
Nice.
Doctorate.
And the signing, by the way, I have to correct because the paper was wrong. It's not even Dumb Sam's fault. It was on the list we got. It's not 6:30 tonight. It's 7:30. This way you get there after work. You have time to get there. 7:30 at Borders and Penn Plaza tonight.
Who's signing?
Just you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, my book. Oh,
yes,
right.
your book. Dennis
we're
is
talking about
signing
your
tonight.
book, Dennis. Why
But
We
if you
Suck
bring a copy of Jim Norton's book, I'll sign that too.
Oh, that's
so
nice.
why don't you do this? Why don't you buy my book, because you have to buy the book to get it signed, and buy Jim's new book, and I'll sign that too.
That would
double
be,
header.
But he'll sign over my face. That's what you should do. You should be passive aggressive and go, I'm happy you got this, and then just sign really
Sign
hard.
it right over your face.
And Dennis is also signing tomorrow in Staten Island. It's a Barnes & Noble. It's a great big store. So even if it's raining, you're not going to be stuck outside. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at Barnes & Noble in Staten Island.
And finally, because I care, Rescue Me, Season 5, in April finally.
First week of April,
Awesome.
and we're doing a giant benefit. I do a thing called the Bash for New York's Bravest every year, and this year we changed it into a comedy bash, which will be, I think it's the 8th annual Bash for New York's Bravest, which benefits New York, the Fire Department of New York, and that will be, I forget the date now, but it's the Rescue Me premiere at Radio City Music Hall.
Which we'll be invited to, I'm sure.
You'll be invited. It'll be the debut episode, the premiere episode of the 5th season, and a live comedy show with myself, Adam Ferrara, Lenny Clark. It's the Rescue Me comedy tour, and then we're going on tour around the country.
How cool is
with
that?
the comedy stars of Rescue Me.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, and my band, the Crown Royals.
Can I go to the premiere?
Yeah, of course you can.
Thank you. Everyone says we could go, but then we never get the invite. So
I'm going to make sure you guys get the invite.
All right. I like to hear that. Dennis Leary, always a pleasure, man.
Guys, thanks.